You know that feeling.
Okay.
I think it's absolutely universal, but for the specific group of people we're talking to today, private school teachers, it it just hits different. It hits harder.
It's a very specific frequency of anxiety.
It is. It's like a Pavlovian response, isn't it?
Oh, completely.
It's, say, 2:15 p.m. You've got that post-lunch slump hitting you. You just finished a double block of teaching. Maybe it was AP history or, I don't know, grade 9 math, and your voice is just shot. You're tired.
You're definitely dehydrated.
Oh, totally. And you're holding this stack of ungraded essays that feels physically heavier than it actually is, and then your phone buzzes. Or you hear that really specific jarring ping from your laptop on the desk.
It's the email, the one notification you actually genuinely dread.
It is the email.
Yeah.
And the subject line isn't, free donuts in the staff room.
No, never.
Or, great job on the assembly. It's, please come see me. Or even worse, just one word, meeting.
Yeah.
And it's from the school manager.
Yep.
Or the principal. Or the head of school. And in that second, all the noise of the hallway, the laughing students, the lockers slamming, it all just, it fades out.
Yeah, you get total tunnel vision, your cortisol spikes immediately. It's a genuine biological fight-or-flight response that's been triggered by a calendar invite.
Exactly. And you start that walk down the admin hallway. And let's be honest, in private schools, that hallway always feels different.
It does.
It's usually carpeted, the air conditioning's just a little bit colder, it's quieter than the controlled chaos of the classrooms. It smells like expensive coffee and, laser printer toner.
And you get to the office, the door clicks shut behind you.
And right there, in that moment, the source material we're looking at today says something really profound happens. It says that inside that room, your titles, they don't matter. It doesn't matter if you're the senior English teacher or the department head or if you've been there for 20 years.
None of it matters.
All that matters is who holds the strings.
It becomes a vacuum. The door closes and the entire social contract shifts. The pedagogy, the teaching, all that.
Yeah.
It stops. And what begins is the raw power dynamic.
And the question the source poses right at the top, which honestly, it gave me chills when I first read it, is this. In that moment, when the latch clicks, are you the prey or are you the predator?
It's such a jarring question, isn't it? Especially for teachers.
Yeah.
I mean, most people get into the profession because they're nurturers. They are helpers. They want to help people. They want to grow young minds. Empathy is like part of the job description. So the idea of being a predator feels...
It feels wrong.
It feels completely wrong. It feels antithetical to what you're supposed to be doing.
It sounds aggressive. It feels like something a Wall Street banker would ask, not an educator.
But that is exactly the point. That's the core of what we're diving into today. This text we're analyzing, it's titled Silent Winners, and it's basically a complete re-education on power dynamics within this very specific ecosystem of private education.
Right.
It argues that if you don't even acknowledge that a game is being played, then you've already lost it. The administration is playing a game of chess, and if you walk in thinking you're all playing, I don't know, collaborative finger painting,
You were going to get crushed.
You're going to get absolutely crushed.
So we're going to unpack a set of strategies that are, honestly, they're kind of ruthless. I mean, there's no other word for it. But in a way that feels necessary for survival in, the modern educational landscape.
And we should be very clear.
Yeah.
This isn't just about general office politics. The source material is very specific. It talks about the school manager's room and the institution's vision. We are tailoring this deep dive specifically for the private school environment, for the teacher who feels like a pawn in a very expensive, very high-stakes game.
And pawn is the key word there. The whole mission today is to move you, the listener, from this defensive position.
Where you're constantly reacting.
Reacting, apologizing, explaining yourself, just hoping not to get in trouble, and move you to what the source calls operational dominance.
operational dominance. It sounds so intense.
That sounds a bit militaristic for a school, doesn't it? But
Right.
maybe that's the point. Maybe we need to armor up a little bit.
Yeah.
And we have a promise for you. By the end of this deep dive, we are going to give you one single sentence, just one.
And the source claims the sentence is basically a work of art.
Yeah, designed to completely shatter your management's psychological game.
It's like psychological jujitsu. It's a verbal weapon.
Yep.
But, and this is a really big warning, you can't just use the sentence like it's a magic spell.
Well,
You have to understand the philosophy behind it first. You have to
Right.
understand the whole board before you try to make a move. If you just say the words without having the right mindset, it's not going to work. It'll just fall completely flat.
okay, so let's get into it. Section 1. Deconstructing the system. We have to talk about that walk to the office. The source says most people make a fatal error before they even sit down in the chair.
Before a single word is even spoken.
Right.
The error is entering on the back foot. Just think about the psychology of it. A teacher being called to the principal's office, it triggers this really primal, almost childhood fear.
Oh, totally.
We spend our entire childhoods fearing that room. The principal's office is where you go when you're in trouble. And then we grow up and work in the exact same building. So when you get that email, your brain just defaults. It goes straight to, what did I do?
Did a parent complain about that grade I gave? Did I mess up the attendance? Is my contract okay? You're already running through a list of potential crimes.
You're already apologizing in your head, searching your memory for things you might have done wrong.
You're pre-apologizing.
You are. You walk in ready to defend yourself. Your shoulders are probably a little hunched. Your voice gets a bit higher. Maybe you're smiling a little too much to try and appease the authority figure. You've got your shield up, but it's a shield made of glass. You are broadcasting insecurity.
You are signaling submission before the negotiation has even started.
Precisely. And the source argues that a silent winner, which is this archetype we're analyzing today, they walk in from a position of power. They don't walk in wondering what they did wrong.
So what are they thinking instead?
They walk in analyzing the system. They understand that the person behind that desk isn't just a boss or a leader or a mentor. They are a player in a game that has rules. And if you know the rules better than they do, you win.
Okay, so let's talk about those rules. Because the source has this incredible breakdown. It's almost like a slide deck, exposing the contradictions that management uses. It says the whole system is designed to gaslight you a little. And I know gaslight is a trendy word, but here it really seems to fit.
It fits perfectly. It's about distorting reality to maintain control. The source argues management operates on a series of these contradictions specifically designed to keep you off balance. Let's dig into the first one. Loyalty versus compliance.
Oh, this is a huge one in schools. We're a family here.
Yes.
We need you to be loyal to the school. Think of the community. Do it for the kids.
Yeah.
We've all heard that.
We have. Management claims they want loyalty. They want you to bleed the school colors. They want you to volunteer for the Saturday sports day, stay late for the open house, cover that extra class for free because we're a family. They wrap what is essentially labor exploitation in the warm, fuzzy blanket of community.
But the source says, no, that's not it.
Reality check. They don't actually want your loyalty. They want your compliance.
Okay, so what is the functional difference there? Because to a lot of people, they probably sound like the same thing. Doesn't a loyal person comply with requests?
There's a huge difference. Loyalty implies a two-way street. It implies a relationship. If I'm loyal to you and you're loyal to me, then when I have a problem, you've got my back. When I need a raise, you fight for me. When a parent unfairly attacks me, you defend me. That's loyalty.
I see.
Compliance is one way. Compliance is just do what I say when I say it without causing any friction. When a school manager talks about loyalty, what they usually mean is don't question my bad decisions.
Wow, that is cutting.
Yeah.
But it's also very accurate. It's like they weaponize your passion for the kids against you.
Exactly.
They know you won't walk out on your students, so they use that loyalty to extract more work for less pay.
They know you love the students, so they frame compliance with my request as loyalty to the students. But really, it's just about making their job easier. It's about running a smooth business, not a moral family.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's look at the next contradiction from the source. Proactive versus predictable. Now, this one really confuses me because every single job ad for a private school teacher says they want self-starters and innovators.
This one is fascinating, especially for teachers. We're constantly told to be innovative.
All the time.
Think outside the box, bring 21st century skills into the classroom, be proactive, disrupt the educational paradigm. It's in every single professional development seminar.
But what actually happens when you do that, when you really try to disrupt things?
Chaos. If you are truly proactive, you create noise. You create work for other people. You want to change the curriculum. Well, that requires a meeting and then budget approval and rewriting the syllabus that's already on the website.
Right.
You want to take the kids on a new field trip. That's liability forms, bus schedules, parent permissions, safety checks. You want to try a new grading system. That generates a flood of confused and angry emails from parents to the principal asking why their child has a mastery score instead of a good old-fashioned A.
So the source is saying, just stop trying. Stop being a good, innovative teacher.
No, not at all. The source is saying understand what they actually reward, not what they say they reward. While they claim they want you to be proactive, what they actually reward day in and day out is predictability.
The trouble-free pawn.
The trouble-free pawn. They want the teacher who doesn't cause ripples. They want the class that starts on time, ends on time, generates 0 emails to the administration, and yields grades that are high enough to keep the parents happy, but not so high that they look fake.
It's a very narrow tightrope to walk.
It is. The source explicitly states that partnership is the buzzword they love to use. We are partners in education, but the operational reality is creating trouble-free pawns. And why? It's simple. Pawns are easy to manage.
Pawns don't ask for raises.
Pawns don't point out that the new schedule violates labor laws. And crucially, and this is the really hard pill for a lot of dedicated teachers to swallow, pawns are easy to replace.
Oof. That hits hard. Especially in private schools, where contracts are often year to year. The fear of replacement is the leash that they use to control you. You always feel like you're auditioning for your own job over and over again.
And that is precisely why the first and most important step in the Silent Winner playbook is to stop playing their game. You cannot win if you are playing by rules that were designed to keep you subservient.
You have to realize the partnership is an illusion.
You have to. Once you accept that what they truly value is compliance and predictability, you stop getting your feelings hurt. You stop thinking, why don't they appreciate my innovation? And you start realizing, oh, my innovation is actually annoying to them.
And that's a huge pivot point. You stop seeking validation from people who are institutionally incapable of giving it to you in the way that you want. You stop looking for a gold star from the principal.
Correct. You move from the emotional to the strategic. You stop trying to be the teacher of the year in their eyes, because that prize usually just means more work for the same pay, and you start trying to be the silent winner. You start playing for yourself.
Okay, so let's get into the how. Let's get into the playbook. The source outlines 3 main strategies, and strategy 1 is called the illusion of loyalty.
I love this title. It sounds like a chapter from a spy novel.
It really does. Now, I want to be clear, because I can hear some of our listeners getting a little nervous right now. Is the source telling us to be traitors? Are we talking about sabotage or undermining the school?
No, absolutely not. Sabotage gets you fired.
And it hurts the kids.
It hurts the students. This isn't about doing a bad job. In fact, it's about protecting your energy so you can do a better job where it matters in the classroom. This is all about optics. The strategy is defined as giving management the appearance of total control while you are quietly, methodically building your own untouchable kingdom in the background.
It's about survival.
It's about protecting your time and your energy so you can actually teach.
Okay, let's role play this, because the source gives a very specific scenario that every single teacher knows. It's the urgent task.
The Friday afternoon email drop, or the high priority flag at 7 a.m. on a Monday morning.
Yes, you're packing up your bag, you've got your weekend all planned out. Or maybe you're just trying to get your grading done during your one prep period so you don't have to take it home. And the school manager walks in or sends that email marked with the red exclamation point.
And they need something ridiculous.
They want a full report on, I don't know, student engagement metrics for the last quarter by Monday morning. Or they need you to suddenly take over the debate club because the other teacher quit without notice, something that will just blow up your whole week.
Right. Now, what is the instinct of the pawn? What does the people-pleaser teacher do in that moment?
The pawn says, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, of course I'll get right on it. Even if they're screaming on the inside, even if it means their entire weekend is gone, they smile and they say yes because they're afraid of saying no. They think saying yes proves their worth and their loyalty.
Exactly. That is the reactive pawn. And let's just analyze what you've just done in that scenario. You have just taught management that your time has no value.
Wow.
You have taught them that you are a limitless resource that they can tap into whenever they drop the ball. You have just validated their poor planning. You rewarded their bad behavior. You've effectively told them, my personal life, my family time, my own well-being, it's all less important than your sudden whim.
That's a really painful way to look at it.
Yeah.
Because we think we're being helpful, but what you're saying is we're actually training them to exploit us.
You are training them how to treat you. If you always say yes to the emergency, you become the designated emergency plan. And that is a terrible, unsustainable place to be because the emergencies never, ever stop.
So, what does the silent winner do? Let's get to the script. I love that the source gives us a specific script because when you're nervous or you feel cornered, you can't think straight. You just need a line to say.
They do not say no. Saying no is open defiance. Defiance gets you labeled as difficult or not a team player. Defiance can get you fired. Instead, they use the illusion of loyalty. The phrase is this: I'm including it in my strategic plan and will report the results to you.
Okay, let's just let that hang in the air for a second.
Right.
I'm including it in my strategic plan and will report the results to you. It sounds so, it sounds so corporate, so professional. But what is it actually doing under the hood? Why does this simple sentence work so well?
It's a masterpiece of tactical communication. It's doing three things simultaneously. First, and most obviously, it acknowledges their request. You aren't refusing, you are including it. So, on the surface, you look loyal, you look compliant, you're not fighting back, you pass the first test.
Okay, so you're not a rebel. You're a team player.
Second, and this is the absolute genius of it, it frames all of your work as part of a strategic plan. It implies you're not just reacting to things as they come at you. You have a plan. You have a schedule. You're an operator. It elevates your status from worker bee to manager of your own domain. It makes your time sound structured and expensive.
It makes it sound like you have other important things to do, which you do. And what's the third thing?
The third thing is that it puts you in control of the when. Listen to the end of the phrase, I will report the results to you. It doesn't say, I will have this on your desk by 8 a.m. Monday. It says, I have processed your request. It is now in my queue, and I will let you know when it is complete.
The polite, professional way of saying, I've heard you, I am handling it, now go away and let me work.
Precisely. It's the fundamental difference between an order taker and a strategist. An order taker says, yes, boss. A strategist says, I will integrate this new data into the overall mission. It forces the manager to take a step back. I mean, how can they yell at you for having a strategic plan? They can't. You're using their own corporate buzzwords against them.
It creates this psychological barrier that they can't cross without looking completely unreasonable.
It shifts the timeline. If you say, I'm including it in my plan, and they don't hear from you for 3 days, well, that's just how long the plan takes to execute properly.
Right.
You've bought yourself breathing room, you've maintained your professional dignity, and you've signaled that you are not just a pair of hands, you are a brain. And notice the total lack of apology. You didn't say, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm really busy right now, but I'll try my best. No. You said, I am including it. It is assertive without being aggressive. It's perfectly neutral.
I can imagine it takes a bit of nerve to say that the first time, though.
It does. Your heart will be racing the first time you do it. You'll be expecting them to push back, to scream at you. But just watch their reaction. More often than not, they will just nod and walk away because you sounded like you knew what you were doing. You sounded like an adult professional, not a child asking for permission.
And that leads perfectly into the second strategy. Because if you want to be treated like a brain, you have to be indispensable. You have to be someone they can't afford to lose. Strategy 2 is invisible indispensability.
This is my favorite part of the entire source text because it goes against absolutely everything we are taught in teacher training. Just think back to your education degree. What is the number one thing they tell you about resources and planning?
Share everything. Collaborate. Beg, borrow, and steal. Lesson plans. Upload everything you've ever created to the shared drive. Mentorship. Build a repository for the department so the next person has it easy.
And the source says, stop.
That feels dangerous.
Yeah.
It feels antisocial and counterintuitive.
It feels completely counterintuitive, but just look at the cold, hard logic of it. The source gives us a mantra. If you're easy to replace, you're easy to manage.
Say that again.
If you're easy to replace, you're easy to manage. If every single thing you do is meticulously documented, color-coded, and uploaded to the shared Google Drive, if your entire year's curriculum is in a neat binder on the server with links and answer keys, then technically, anyone can step in and teach your class tomorrow.
You've made yourself redundant by being too organized and too helpful. You've commoditized your own labor. You've literally built the machine that replaces you.
Precisely. You have created a turnkey operation. And in the private school world, where budgets are always tight and younger, cheaper teachers are graduating every single year, a turnkey operation is incredibly dangerous for the veteran teacher who costs more money. If a 22-year-old graduate can take your binder and do 80% of your job for half the salary, you are vulnerable. You are mathematically replaceable.
So how do we fix this without looking like we're just being difficult or not doing our job? I mean, we can't just refuse to submit lesson plans. The source talks about the black box method. What is that?
The black box. This is the goal. A silent winner creates a situation where a critical part of the school system depends entirely on their unique contribution. But here's the crucial part. The method of that contribution must be opaque. It has to be a black box. Input goes in, excellence comes out, but nobody on the outside knows exactly what happens inside the box.
Can you give me a concrete example of this in a school? Because like I said, we all have to submit lesson plans. We can't just write magic happens here on the form.
Of course, you submit the lesson plans, they're fine, they meet the requirements. But the lesson planner isn't the magic. Let's use an example. Let's say you're the teacher who runs the school's annual theater production. It's a huge success every year. Parents love it, it brings in donations, it's a marquee event that the admissions office puts on the front of the brochure to sell the school.
Okay, so the play is the product. It's very high visibility.
Right. Now, the pawn teacher, the one who shares everything, keeps a detailed binder. It has every vendor, every costume contact, every lighting cue, every script edit, and they hand a copy to the administration just in case. They CC the principal on every single email to the costume rental place. They make sure everyone knows exactly how the sausage is made.
They're being a good team player. They're being transparent.
Right. Now, the silent winner, they keep the contacts in their personal phone. They have the lighting cues in a shorthand that only they understand. They have a relationship with the venue owner that is personal, not institutional. The play happens, it's flawless, everyone cheers. But the administration knows deep down, if that teacher leaves, the play dies. Or at the very least, it becomes an expensive disaster for 2 or 3 years while they try to figure it out.
I can think of other examples. The AP coordinator who knows exactly how to navigate the College Board's bureaucracy.
Perfect example.
Or the teacher who runs the science fair and has personal relationships with all the judges from the local university.
Right.
Or the one teacher who can handle the really, really difficult parents.
Exactly. If you organize the science fair, you don't create a how-to guide for dummies, the science fair, and put it on the server. You just do it. You make it look effortless, but the mechanism is completely hidden. If you're the one who handles the parents that make other teachers cry, you don't explain how you calm them down in a detailed report. You just go back to the principal and say, it's handled.
So the administration looks at that teacher and thinks, we literally cannot fire them. We don't know how they do what they do. It would take us 3 years and a huge headache to rebuild that network.
You've made yourself a structural, load-bearing wall. You aren't just a teacher anymore. You are the keeper of institutional knowledge, the keeper of the state secrets. The source says when the system cannot function without your silent input, they stop telling you what to do. They start asking you how it's going to be.
And then you start telling them, hey, for the play to work this year, I'm going to need Thursday afternoons off for rehearsals. And they just say yes, because they have no other choice. They cannot risk you walking away.
It's all about leverage. You want to be the person where if you call in sick, the manager starts to sweat. Not because they have to find a substitute teacher for your class, but because they genuinely don't know how to unlock the cabinet where the final exams are kept, or they don't know the password to the specific software used for the yearbook layout.
It sounds a little bit, I don't know, Machiavellian. Guarding your process is like a state secret. It feels a bit selfish, especially when we're taught that teaching is all about sharing.
It is selfish, but the source would argue it's professional selfishness. Look at the alternative. We already established in Section 1 that the system is designed to view you as a pawn. If you just give away all your power, they will use it, and when it's convenient, they will discard you. Keeping a little bit of mystery, keeping your proprietary methods to yourself, that's professional self-preservation. You're protecting your value in the marketplace.
I guess in any other industry, this is just called intellectual property.
That's all it is.
But in schools, we call it sharing. Maybe we do need to rethink that vocabulary.
Absolutely. Your connections, your specific methods, your soft skills, that is your IP. You shouldn't open source it unless you are being specifically compensated for it. If you build a unique curriculum from scratch, that is yours until they pay you specifically for the rights to it.
Speaking of self-preservation, this seems like a good time to talk about the warning. The source puts a big red flag right in the middle of the playbook. A trap that it says can destroy all the progress we've just discussed.
Section 4, the great trap. And the trap is friendship.
But I like my principle. We go to happy hour sometimes, we talk about our kids, we follow each other on Instagram.
Stop right there. The source is absolutely unequivocal about this. In a corporate or private school environment, closeness with management is almost always a mask for weakness.
Why is it a weakness? I mean, wouldn't being buddies with the boss protect you? If they like me personally, they won't fire me, right? It feels like an insurance policy.
It feels like protection, but what it actually is exposure. When you're friends, you talk. You let your guard down, you have a couple of drinks at the staff party. You mention that you're thinking of starting a family next year. You mention your partner might get transferred to another city in a year or two. You mention that you find the vice principal slightly annoying or that you're feeling really burned out.
You're giving them information.
You are giving them ammunition. Every personal detail becomes a data point for management. Let's say budget cuts are coming down the line, and they're looking at two equally good teachers, and they have to cut one. If the manager knows you're planning to move in a year anyway, because you told them over drinks, you just put a giant target on your back.
Right.
They can cut you with less guilt because, oh, well, she was leaving anyway. You just made their difficult decision incredibly easy for them.
Or it could work the other way.
Exactly. If they know you're desperate for money because you just bought a house and you're stressed about the mortgage, they know they can pile extra work on you and you probably won't quit. They know your breaking point. They know your leverage is 0.
That is terrifyingly cynical.
Oh.
I've seen it happen. I've seen things that were said in confidence at a holiday party come up, slightly twisted, in a performance review 6 months later. Or used to guilt trick someone into taking on an extra club. Come on, I know you could use the stipend.
It's not always even malicious. Sometimes it's just systemic. The system incentivizes them to use whatever information they have to solve their problems. The source warns that the boundary must be absolutely tight. Distance is armor.
Yeah.
This doesn't mean you have to be cold or rude or a jerk. You can be polite. You can be charming. You can be friendly, but you cannot be friends.
There's a critical distinction there. Friendly is a behavior. Friend is a relationship.
That's a perfect way to put it. Your interactions have to be based on professional respect and results, not we hang out on the weekends. Because the moment the dynamic shifts, and it always does in schools, enrollments drop, a big donor pulls out, owners get anxious, that fake friendship will evaporate in an instant. And suddenly, all the things you said in confidence will be used to manipulate you.
So the silent winner is pleasant, professional, but ultimately an enigma. They don't share their weekend drama. They don't complain about their personal life in the staff room. They're a black box personally as well as professionally.
Distance creates respect. Think about the teacher you respected the most when you were a student. Was it the one who was trying to be your best buddy, sitting on the desk, trying to be cool, telling you about their dating life?
No.
Or was it the one who was slightly mysterious, incredibly competent, and maintained a very firm professional boundary?
The second one. Always. The one where you desperately wanted their approval precisely because they didn't give it away for free. The one you were a little bit afraid of, but in a good way.
Be that person for your administration. Make them earn your details. Be a fortress, not an open book.
Okay, so we've got the defense set up. We're creating the illusion of loyalty with our strategic plans. We're making ourselves indispensable with our black boxes. We're keeping our distance to avoid giving them any ammunition. Now, it's time for the weapon. It's time for the part the source promised, a way to flip the script entirely when we're under attack.
Section 5. Operational dominance. This is the transition from defense to offense. This is where you stop being a pawn and you start becoming a game maker.
So the setup is this. You're in that office. The manager is criticizing you. And let's be real, in private schools, the criticism can be incredibly petty sometimes. It's not usually, you're a fundamentally bad teacher. It's, I heard you let the students out 2 minutes early for lunch.
Or your bulletin boards in the hallway aren't colorful enough.
Yes. Or a parent said you didn't smile at them in the carpool line this morning.
It's nitpicking. It's a series of microaggressions designed to keep you insecure and on the back foot. And here's the instinct. The human instinct, especially for conscientious teachers who care, is to explain.
Of course.
But I was helping a student who was struggling. I didn't have time to do the board because of all the grading. I'm sorry, I was tired. We defend, we explain, we try to justify our existence, we offer up excuses.
And the source just screams, and no.
The source states, and this is a direct quote, defending yourself is the single biggest mistake you can make.
But why? It feels like natural justice to want to defend yourself when you're accused of something.
Because the moment you start defending, you are validating their authority to judge you on that metric. You are accepting the premise that you are the one on trial. You are accepting that the bulletin board matters on a strategic level. You are automatically putting yourself in the low-status position. You're the child explaining to the parent why your room is messy. You are giving them the power to decide if your excuse is good enough.
A silent winner never defends, they ask.
They don't defend. They launch a new operation. The goal is to take the energy of their attack and redirect it right back at them. So The source gives us a very specific sentence, and I want everyone listening to just visualize this for a second. You are sitting in that chair. The manager has just finished complaining about something completely irrelevant, like the bulletin board. You look them directly in the eye. You stay perfectly calm. No anger, no tears, no defensive posture. And you ask,
For what strategic gap in the institution's vision was this criticism given to me to close?
it is devastatingly good. It's heavy. It just hangs in the room like a fog.
Let's break that down word by word, because if you just mumble this, you're going to sound insane. You have to deliver it properly. Let's start with the first part. For what strategic gap?
By using the words strategic gap, you are instantly elevating the entire conversation. You're no longer talking about thumbtacks and construction paper. You are saying, I assume, Mr. Manager, that you are not just whining about something petty. I assume you are operating at a high strategic level, just like I am. It forces them to pretend that they are. It reframes the whole conversation as one about high-level strategy, not trivial details. It assumes competence on their part, which is actually a very clever trap.
Okay, the next part. In the institution's vision.
Now you're tying your job and their criticism directly to the school's official mission statement, the thing that's on the website and on all the marketing materials. You aren't just a teacher putting up a board, you are an executive executing the vision. It makes their criticism seem infinitesimally small if it isn't directly tied to that grand vision. You are basically asking, please explain to me how the color of my bulletin board affects our glorious future as a premier educational academy. How does the spacing of my font impact the endowment fund?
And the final part. Was this criticism given to me to close?
This is the pivot. This is the jujitsu. You're referring to their complaint almost as if it's a gift. You gave me this criticism, but you're asking, what specifically do you want me to do to fix this strategic problem? You are demanding a causal link between ugly board and institutional failure. You're asking for the data.
So if the principal says, your bulletin board is ugly, and you drop this sentence on them, what happens in the room? What is the physical reaction you're likely to see?
Panic. Absolute cognitive dissonance. Because 99.9% of the time, there's no strategic gap in the institution's vision related to a bulletin board. They can't answer it.
They can't say, well, our strategic vision is to have pretty walls.
Exactly. That would sound absurd, and they know it. They will stutter. They will look away. Their whole posture will change. They'll say something like, well, I just meant, it looks a bit messy. It's not a big deal.
You've completely popped the balloon. You've deflated all the tension and aggression from their attack.
You've successfully reframed their attack as a clumsy request for help. You have forced them to justify their own criticism in the language of high-level corporate strategy. And if they can't do it, they look foolish. If they try to do it, they have to treat you like a strategic partner, not a subordinate. You're speaking the language of a consultant, not an employee. You are speaking the language of the board of directors.
It puts the entire burden of thinking back on them. Instead of you scrambling to go fix the board, they are now scrambling to explain why the board matters to the vision.
And 9 times out of 10, they will quickly realize that it doesn't, and they will back down. They will say, oh, never mind, just tidy it up when you get a chance. The power dynamic has completely flipped. You are now the one asking the hard strategic questions. You are the game maker. You have signaled in the most professional way possible that you are not to be trifled with over petty matters.
It really is psychological jujitsu. You use their own momentum to throw them off balance.
And you do it without ever raising your voice. That's the silent part of being a silent winner. You don't get into a shouting match. You ask a question that is so professional, so high level, that they can't possibly get mad at you for asking it. But it completely and totally disarms them. It makes them feel slightly small for having brought up something so trivial in the first place.
Now, I have to play devil's advocate for a second here. If I say this to a principal who has a massive ego, are they going to fire me for being insolent? Is this too risky for some environments?
It's a risk, but it is a very calculated one. Insolence is saying, no, I won't do it, or that's a stupid thing to worry about. The sentence is phrased as a sincere question about strategy. If they fire you for asking how to better align your work with the school's official vision, they have a massive HR problem on their hands. It's very, very hard to discipline someone for asking how they can help the institution succeed. It boxes them in completely. It traps them in their own corporate rhetoric.
So it actually forces them to be the bad guy if they react poorly.
Exactly. And most bullies, and let's be honest, some managers are bullies, they're looking for easy targets. They want to see tears. They want to hear apologies. They want to feel big by making someone else feel small. When they get a complex strategic question that requires actual thought, They get bored or confused. It's too much work. They will likely just leave you alone next time and go bother the teacher who cries.
Which brings us to Section 6, the outcome. Let's say a teacher listening to this actually commits to this new mindset. If they stop being the nice, compliant, oversharing teacher and they become this silent winner, what actually happens to their daily life at work? Does it really get better?
The source promises tangible, concrete results. First, the office politics, the mobbing, the petty attacks from management, they just melt away. The silence becomes real.
Why? Is it just because you're a harder target to bully?
Yes. Predators don't attack hard targets. They look for soft underbellies. If every single time the manager tries to micromanage you, they get hit with a strategic plan response or a strategic gap question, they get exhausted, it's too much cognitive load to try and bully you, they will go find an easier victim, a softer pawn.
So you just get left alone, which at the end of the day is what most teachers want. We just want to be allowed to teach.
You get autonomy. That is the holy grail for a professional teacher. You get to close your classroom door and teach the way you know is best because the administration knows that you are handling it and that messing with you is just a giant headache they don't need. You essentially become a self-governing entity within the larger school.
The source also mentions earning genuine bone-deep respect.
Because humans are wired to respect strength. We're wired to respect competence. When you stop apologizing and you start operating, people treat you differently. The tone of the emails they send you changes. They become shorter, more polite. The way they greet you in the hallway changes. It becomes a nod of recognition, not a wave of dismissal. You are no longer just staff. You are a force. You become a fixture.
And ultimately, you take back control of your own career. You are, as the source says, managing your management.
And that is the definition of success in this playbook. You aren't bouncing around based on the manager's mood of the day. If they come in a bad mood, it doesn't touch you because your distance is armor. If they have a chaotic new initiative they just thought of, it doesn't derail you because you have your strategic plan. You become the anchor in the storm. You become the most stable, predictable thing in the entire building.
It's incredibly empowering, but it does require a real mindset shift. You have to be willing to be a little bit colder, a little bit more calculated than you're used to being. You have to be willing to kill the people pleaser inside you.
You have to.
You have to let go of the idea that the principal is your friend.
You have to make a choice. Do you want to be liked by your boss, or do you want to be respected? Do you want to be a friend, or do you want to be a professional? In the private school industry, which can be incredibly exploitative of a teacher's passion and goodwill, being a professional in this strategic sense is the only way to survive long-term without completely burning out.
Right.
You can be warm and nurturing with your students. That's where your passion goes. But with management, be cold, be sharp, be silent.
We're coming to the end of our deep dive, and this has been, it's been heavy, but it also feels necessary. It feels like we've handed out some armor today. Let's just do a quick recap of the journey just to make sure the toolbox is full before we go.
Good idea. We started at the office door, the summons. We realized the system is designed to turn you into a predictable pawn through the illusion of being a family and the constant demand for compliance. We recognized that trap.
We rejected that. We picked up 3 specific tools. Tool number 1, the illusion of loyalty. Using the phrase, I'm including it in my strategic plan. You control the workflow. You control the timing. You stop being the reactive pawn.
Tool number 2, invisible indispensability, the black box method. Make yourself the structural support that cannot be easily removed. Keep your IP to yourself. Do not build the machine that makes your own job turnkey.
And tool number 3, operational dominance, the ultimate weapon, asking for what strategic gap? The question that stops criticism dead in its tracks and forces management to justify its own existence. It flips the table.
And don't forget the shield that protects all of it. Distance. No fake friendships. No loose lips at the staff party. No giving them the ammunition they will inevitably use against you at the next budget meeting.
Now, the source material does tease that this is just the beginning. It says this is all just defense. This is just basic survival training.
Right. The text mentions a next level. It says, and I'm quoting here, we're going to expose the secret fears of owners and bosses and how you can checkmate them before they even know they're playing.
That sounds like a whole other deep dive, moving from survival to, conquest.
To mastery. Once you are safe, once your position is secure and you are indispensable, then you can start shaping the school itself. You can start influencing policy from a position of strength. You can start negotiating your salary with real power. But you have to secure your base first. You can't lead the army if you're worried about getting fired every Friday.
So here is the final thought for today. The source signs off with a very simple, very powerful instruction. Stay silent and win. And so I want to leave all listeners, our teachers, with a question. Tomorrow morning, when you walk into that building, when you swipe your ID badge, when you see that admin door at the end of the hallway,
Are you going to walk in as a pawn, just hoping to avoid trouble? Or are you going to walk in as a game maker, ready to control the board?
the bell is about to ring, class is dismissed. Stay silent, everyone.